Hello, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. I guess you guys can't answer, but yeah, I hope everyone is having a good night. My name is Phoenix Wong, and I'm here to talk to you about effective communication to students, staff, and colleagues as a teacher. I just want you guys to think about what kind of teacher you guys enjoyed when you were in high school, right? For me personally, it was like the really cheerful, moody, always made me laugh kind of teacher. That's also what I want to be, right? Although there's a plenty of different kind of techniques and ways teachers would like to express themselves. That's personally mine, right? Yeah, just think about that. Let that sink in for a bit as I move on to the next question, which is, as a teacher, how can you be culturally responsive and competent, right? And the first thing I'm going to talk about is languages. There should be plenty of languages that you're going to come across, right? Students all over the world, staff all over the world, colleagues from everywhere. And the best thing is for you to not to assume. Right? The best thing is for you to, speak to them normally. Speak to them how you would speak to a regular student or staff member, etc. And if they're like, sorry, I don't understand, that's where you proceed with a different form of communication, right? So with that being said, let's go on to like uh tone, right? Um if someone's talking to you and they're like using a really aggressive, loud tone, they're bulky, they're kind of towering over you, you're not gonna like that, right? So use a more gentle, respectful tone, right? Because again, to your student, you're not trying to be rude to your student, right? To a staff member, a parent, that's completely unacceptable. Even to a student, it's unacceptable, right? Be gentle, be polite, respectful to them, right? Be open, right? They try to express an open tone so that people can find comfort when they talk to you. Another thing is gestures, right? Hand gestures, facial gestures, anything. Be expressive, right? When you're expressive, people can kind of understand more, especially if they don't really fluently understand you. You know, being like a laid back gesture may present you in a more nice way, but Talents went over, had looking upset is not really something we want to go for, right? Um, with that being said, like it's a really like specific example. Some other examples of like being an effective communicator is being empathetic, respectful, and aware, right? So you may ask, like, for example, let me give you an example. You meet a parent, right? And perhaps they don't speak English fluently, right? But you don't know that, right? Come in, you're talking to them, they don't really understand. You are as a teacher, you need to be aware that okay, this person may not understand me. How could I proceed with delivering effective communication, right? And that comes from knowing what to do. Okay, so if you know maybe a parent does not speak fluent English, right? Just because maybe your students told you, then you can either hopefully get the students to translate that if they understand, or even just bring in your own translator, right? The last thing you want to do is to create any form of misunderstanding and confusion with the teacher or with the parent, right? So by bringing in a translator, everything is super clear and precise, right? For example, and like there's gonna be plenty of things that you're lacking as a new teacher, maybe even as a veteran teacher, and there's always things we can work on and go towards. For example, I think one of my biggest strengths is that I'm patient. Um, I've worked with a lot of people who don't speak fluent English, and that has developed me into you know kind of talking slower when I have to, right? Hopefully trying to develop this easier form of communication for them to understand me. So that, we all have a good time, right? We all have like a really good time, stuff like that. Um, However, there's still lots I need to work toward, right? And something I ask myself is, what do I need to do to become a competent communicator? And that is experience. I need experience. Everyone needs experience, right? Everyone is improving. Everyone is trying to do their best at all times and stuff like that. So I think as a teacher, go about my years working with more and more people, I'll have more experience to understand how to communicate better, right? Because no one's perfect. Um, so over a vast amount of time, I created this thing called a communication plan. Okay, the communication plan is to help guide me as I become a teacher, and once I become a teacher, to continue to guide me on how I want to communicate with students, staff, and students, staffs, and parents, right? Staff includes like colleagues, administration, stuff like that. So one thing I want to do is create a positive environment, right? And how do I do this? Well, I try to build trust. I have transparency, and I have sorry, and I would like to create a safe environment. So how do I do this? Well, the trust comes from the transparency, right? So when students come in, I'm completely transparent with what I want to do, right? My goals, my expectations, due dates, everything like that, right? And by having this transparency and creating a safe environment, students may believe that, or not believe, but like they'll they'll know that I could be someone that they can always talk to. If they're falling behind, they're not gonna be scared of me, right? Same thing with parents. If I'm completely transparent with parents, we develop this trust. It's a positive thing, right? I want students and parents and my staff members to know that they can come to me when they need to, right? A lot of times, maybe a parent might be afraid of the teacher, or maybe even vice versa, right? But I don't want that. I want a nice, healthy relationship, right? And one way I really want to push into my teaching methods is storytelling, because I think storytelling is a really, really positive way to deliver material, get students to remember material, and stuff like that. When you're working, you're under a lot of stress. Sometimes it's good to have a really good laugh. So storytelling is a really good way. I'm going to try to keep positive. But now we go into the negatives, right? The conflicts. How do I avoid conflicts with students, parents, and colleagues? Well, first let's go with students, right? As a student myself, there's like a lot of things that stress and due dates, correct? If I am completely transparent with them, right, and they understand that, then they can plan ahead, right? They don't have no surprise exams, nothing that would put too much like more stress on the student, right? They already have plenty. So by being transparent, they can plan out their schedule, their studying, plan out their schedule. So that same with their parents, right? Parents maybe have lots of questions, lots of concerns, right? So again, by telling them how I do things, how I'm like, why I do things, what we're gonna learn, how we're gonna learn that stuff, parents may feel more at ease, right? We develop this sense of trust, right? And again, a lot of this comes when in with continually communicating with parents, right? Don't just email them one time, right? Keep connected with parents, make sure they're in the loop, right? Colleagues is probably the harder thing, Colleagues to me are more like friends. However, that's not the case, right? We're all coworkers. We need to be respectful and polite to our coworkers, especially administrators, right? Administrators are under an immense amount of stress. They do a lot of work around, and we need to remember that to avoid conflict, that I need to be polite and respectful, right? I can always help them out, be empathetic, right? But the key thing is to remember that everyone's human, right? Everyone is going through something, and I want to give them the most positive experience, right? And that'll help avoid a lot of conflict. So this more or less is how I plan to communicate effectively and responsibly. The plan will never be finished though. Like this plan is a guide. It's not like a path forward because I will never be done. Right? You will never fully have learned how to be competent and responsive. There's always more to learn, right? And you have more to learn too. So, create a plan, stick with it, improve it always, improve yourself. Thank you for listening on how my plan is.